Tragically, nearly 35% of Texans experience domestic violence from an intimate partner. Now more than ever, they need our support. Safe Haven provides freedom from domestic violence in the Fort Worth area. Thomas J. Henry is proud to team with Safe Haven to help end domestic violence through safety, support, prevention, and social change. Please join us to create a legacy of resilience and hope.
It's Tuesday, which means
Tuesdays.
we are pleased to be joined for the final time this season.
Aw.
I know. By the Hall of Famer. You can hear him on the Horn in Austin every weekday from 10 to noon with Jeff Howe on Light the Tower. You can see him on High School Scoreboard live on Valley Sports Southwest, of course, the voice of the Texas Longhorns. We're joined by the great Craig Way. And Craig, why don't you tell people where you are right now?
Well, I'm at what is referred to, I don't know that everybody on earth would agree with it, but certainly up here they do. The world's most famous arena is what they call it. It's Madison Square Garden in New York. There is a college basketball game tonight between number 2 Texas and number 17 Illinois in the Jimmy V Classic, and that's all well and good. I look at it this week, Tep, as being this game is a really good palate cleanser for them going back to the heavyweight stuff of the week, the state semifinals.
Yes.
So it's good. And if this is to be my last pop on with you guys, we better make it worthy, right? We better make it worthwhile, make it stick. So
This is true.
although you won't see the end of me yet because we have more work to do together still on the TV side.
We've got plenty of stuff. We will be seeing and talking to each other plenty over the next 10 days or so, Craig. Okay, I want to go back to the state to the regional final weekend. And we mentioned off the top of last week that there were 12 rematches of games that we had already seen in the regional finals and then the six-man state semifinals there with Happy and Westbrook. Of those 12, only 3 teams avenged a earlier defeat to their previous opponent. It was Vandergrift beating Dripping Springs, it was Port Nature's Groves beating Marshall, and it was Malakoff beating Grandview. So only 3 of the 12 avenged that loss. Can we put to rest the notion of it's hard to beat a good team twice? Because it kind of seems like in Texas high school football, it's happening more often than not.
Yeah, and especially I think it can be overplayed when you're talking about 2 of those 3 you mentioned were non-district matchups very early in the season. Certainly, when you think about the fact that Malakoff and Grandview, that was a non-district game like they do every year. It's kind of getting like USC and Notre Dame, right? Those 2 play every year, and Vandergrift and Dripping Springs played a classic in the season opener back on August 27th, only to be exceeded by the classic they played last Friday night. But you're right. I mean, really good teams, if they know, sometimes, like I said, it's the devil and teams that you can handle. And in the case of the game that I called with Shea Walker, I mean, North Shore was uber impressive in dismantling a really good Atascocita team. Don't take anything away from Craig Stump's team, but North Shore did what they had to do, and they kind of largely dominated the game.
So we've now made it to the state semifinals. There are 40 teams left. 20 teams get to punch their ticket to AT&T Stadium this week. I think, in my opinion, there are 3 teams that I would categorize as maybe not Cinderellas, but certainly surprises to be here. I want to get your read on which one you think is the most surprising. Is it in 2A Division II with New Home? Is it in 3A Division II with Harmony? Or is it in 5A Division II with Port Nature's Groves? Which of those 3 teams are you most shocked to be seeing here in mid-December?
Since I'm in New York City, this is a city that there was a lot of in the late 50s and early 60s. They had a lot of the elevated jazz scene coming upon it. I always think of that one jazz guy who's always singing. He put words to a jazz riff, and it went over and over. Melody, harmony, harmony, melody, 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 harmony. It's harmony. For that team to have the start they did, the stumbles that they did, and yet turn it around and then get to 5-5, good enough to get them into the playoffs and get on a roll. the Eagles have been most surprising. And I know exactly why you omitted this other team I'm going to mention from the list.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, tip of the hat to Brock for getting off the deck at 0-4. Weren't they your preseason choice to win it?
Yes, they were.
And, and getting off the deck at 0-4. And they played a tough non-district schedule, as we know, and we chronicled that on Saturday night. Wimberley was one of the teams, and they're a Final Four. I mean, they played a really tough non-district schedule. But Harmony, I think, has to be the biggest surprise. I would think not only because of what they did to get to this point, but the eyebrow-raising results they've had to beat some of the teams they've had to beat, most notably in the last 2 weeks. West Rusk, followed by Newton, I think is most impressive.
Talking with Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. I want to go back to Port Neches Groves and specifically their state semifinal matchup with Liberty Hill. I am of the opinion, I was scripting my picks video yesterday, and I got to this game, PNG and Liberty Hill, and I just kept scratching my head and agonizing over it with PNG and the Panthers. And part of it is because of the injury situation on Liberty Hill, which I think can only be described as freakish. Do you quite yet have a read on this matchup of purple powers here in the 5A Division II semifinals between PNG and Liberty Hill?
Yeah, there'll be some purple passion there on spilled out onto the field. It is unique. Here's what I think. I think that PNG is going to be able to move the football on Liberty Hill. Even in some of their most impressive wins this season, the Panthers have given up yards on the ground and through the air. And I do think the Indians will be able to move the football. Now, here's the wrinkle about Liberty Hill. As you pointed out, what a bizarre injury situation when they lose Noah Long and Joe Pitchford on the same play on their opening drive down at the goal line. They both go down on the same play with broken collarbones, a scoop and score that goes back the other way 99 yards. And then Liberty Hill turns around and puts 63 on them. And they had 7 or 8 different rushers in the ball game. They rushed for something like 560 yards. They truly have one of the popular overused phrases that we in the media like to use is stable a running back, stable a receiver, stable a quarterback. They got a stable, and they've got several different guys who can carry the football for them. So life goes on, and that offensive line, anchored by the center, Jackson Harrison, and Hudson Stillwell on the offensive front, those guys are the ones plowing the field for this bevy of running backs that Kent Walker continues to toss out. This is a fascinating matchup between these two.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about what I perceive to be the main event. And what I think is the biggest showdown of the weekend, and that's 3:00 Saturday in Houston at Rice Stadium in a title unification bout between Austin Westlake and Galena Park North Shore. Now, you are obviously intimately familiar with Westlake down there in the Austin area. I know you just called North Shore the game with their romp over Atascocita. First, I guess 2 questions. 1, is this your main event of the weekend? And 2, do you have quite yet a read on what matchups maybe you are most intrigued with in this showdown?
I do think it's kind of the main event, if only because we've been pointing to it for weeks and because of the state championship pedigree. Here's North Shore having won 3 out of the last 4. Here's Westlake having won 3 in a row. They were on the collision course a couple of years ago with Westlake winning in the semifinal round. Remember, North Shore beat Westlake back in 2015. So they each have high-quality wins against one another, as well as what they've done deep in their playoff runs. Massive respect for both programs. Westlake has just gone seamlessly in the transition from Todd Dodge to Tony Salazar. And North Shore has been a gold standard under John Kay. What the things he's done has been tremendous. I do think this. A lot of it will come down to Westlake's defense has just been on fire. And how will they do against David Amador with the way that he engineers that offense? If they need him to run, he runs. If they need him to throw, he's on the money. If they need him to flex out as a receiver, he can do that too. Neutralizing him is a big part of what Westlake will have to do on the offensive side. Now, I will tell you this, Westlake has changed quarterbacks. They went from Paxton Land, who got injured early, and to Brett Skinner, and then back to Land, and then back to Skinner, and they've gone back and forth. But the key to that attack is Jack Kaiser, their diminutive running back. And behind that big Westlake offensive front, can they do what Kansas State does with the Deuce Vaughn effect, where you get a more diminutive back being able to hide behind the pads of the offensive line and be able to break through? Largely, they've been able to do that. This North Shore defense will be, without question, and not even close, Tap, the best defense they've seen this season. They've seen some good ones. This will easily be the best defense. They've seen best defensive line, fastest linebackers, and the secondary is just dynamite. So that's where these tests are going to come. And then we're going to see what the condition of Jaden Greathouse is. He's had the injured hamstring. He warmed up last week but did not play for Westlake. Is he able to go this week? We'll find out. That could be a big factor as well.
So,
and it might rain. The coaches, the coaches at John K. at North Shore and Craig Stump of the Tascasita both wanted to flip, as they say. We know it's the zip code derby that they do in the coaching directory, but they wanted to put Rice Stadium up, not NRG. So it winds up being at Rice Stadium, and at 3:00 Saturday afternoon, there's a 40% chance of rain. And as we all know, 40% chance of rain means in Houston probably about 75%. Correct. So there's a decent chance there could be some rain in that game at Rice Stadium on Saturday.
So then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be very rude, and I'm going to take away that game. Westlake and North Shore is off the table, but you have 19 other state semifinals that you can teleport to this week. You can only pick one. Which one is Craig Way heading to?
Wow. This is not a cop-out answer.
Here we go.
But I think it's the one I'm calling Friday night. I think it's Argyle and South Oak Cliff. Mm-hmm. I mean, you and I, they canvassed our opinion on what we thought might be the best Friday game to call, because Valley Sports Southwest had the way it was formatted and designed, it needed to be a Friday game, not a Saturday game this week. So it was like, what is the best Friday game? And you and I talked about it. And, PNG and Liberty Hill is a great matchup. There's some other tremendous matchups, I think, as well in the lower classifications. But I think it's Argyle and South Oak Cliff. I think we're going to, you have the number one team in the state against the defending state champion in 5AD2. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
He's Craig Way. He's the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can hear him on the Horn in Austin every weekday from 10 to noon on Light the Tower. You can see him on Valley Sports Southwest on High School Scoreboard Live on Saturday, and then all over the state championship games next week on Valley Sports Southwest. Craig, we appreciate your time, my friend. Have a great call tonight, and enjoy New York.
Sitting here in the press room, I expected any moment some guy to come walking in trying to, shush me or something, go, hey, I'm on the air here. I'm talking here. Oh, no, but it's okay.
Perfect,
we're good to go.
Craig. We'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.
There he goes, Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer.
Man, New York Craig is fun, Craig.
New York Craig.
That's next level, Craig.
New York Craig. Yeah, the Bronx Craig.
Bronx Craig. Hashtag Bronx Craig.
Hashtag Bronx Craig.
We need someone to call into the ticket and be Bronx Craig.
Get it trending, folks. We've got to get that going. So we appreciate Craig Way hopping on with us as usual.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.